Hey guys, me, Gigi Camo. I'm back, and for a Skylander to be in the top 10, it must be strong, it must be powerful, or it must have a really good strategy to block all of its weak points, and it must be good to use. So with that, let's start off in number 10 with a more, appropriate choice. Bash. Yes, I know, thanks to both me and Shadow Mew X, we both have made, Bash and Zap, best friends. And personally, I found him the better one of the bunch. How could I not put the single most powerful Skylander on the high on the list anyways? Bash is fast for a tough Skylander. His tail swipe attack does so much damage on Granite Dragon. 80 damage. Plus, he has a charge attack that can wipe out to be the most powerful attack, 250 damage. So yeah, that's pretty scary. Bash also has good stats to cover up his weak points, and he's pretty much fast. Appropriate for being the first Skylander ever modeled, I guess you could say, wise. So, Spyro was the first Bash was. So, they've been giving Bash all this credit, and I believe it's for a good reason. And Bash, for a long time, was one of my favorite Skylanders. In the battle arena, he's still fun to use. He has all of his weaknesses fixed up, and he has tons of power to back it up. Why is he this low? Same reasons as Stealth Elf. He's kinda overpowered, and I don't get too much fun out of using him. But I like Bash because he's personally a very underrated choice, to say the least. I don't know why. I hear more people in the battle arena going to use Stealth Elf or Drobot. I don't really hear much of Bash. But Bash is good, and while his charge attack can be interrupted, and his, sadly, no combos to back it up, so you're going to have to just tail swipe everything. And hey, his Z attack. When are you ever going to use it besides his Wow Pow? When are you ever going to use it? For a long time I thought it was a shield, but it turned out to be you had to use the A attack as a projectile. But it's awful projectile to be that. Say it without explaining more, so Bash, I could say, lacks a projectile move. But other than that, do you care? Do you think that not having a good projectile attack, not having good combos, and for some reason you can be interrupted while doing your charge attack, are you really going to let go Bash? No. He's perfect in all modes of play, both of his paths. His Wow Bow's really good, letting him jump. Sadly, his dream was to fly, but I guess jumping could work. I mean, he's got the rolling thing. Bash is a very good Skylander, and definitely should be on everyone's top 10 lists. Even the tiers list say so, and I couldn't help but agree. Bash is such a good Skylander, but sadly, I find him pretty underrated as a choice. I guess that's because they made a new Earth Dragon, and I guess since it looked more dragon-like, I guess everyone's going to Flashwing anyways. Number 9. Voodood. Okay, after a while of not having a magic Skylander, here it is. And, well, I find Voodood a strange one. I mean, this is one of the very few times you get to play as an orc. Also wielding an axe, which I think should have been altered just by looking at the axe. But Voodood, in my opinion, is the best melee attacker, even more than Stealth Elf. Well, it goes back to Igniter. You have to master him. Mainly his Z attack on Mardur. And then, once you learn what it can latch onto, you become the fastest magic Skylander, especially in story mode. And once you latch onto an opponent, you don't have to care about projectiles. Just swing that axe, which does... Hold on a second. I'll talk about his damage a little later. I'm going to bring up his other attacks. Well, his I talked about the Extend Axe, which is awesome, and the axe swinging, which is pretty good, actually. His Z attack is sadly the reason why he's this low besides mastering. It doesn't do anything much, while the Giants official guidebook said it was a really good power. I couldn't care less about using it. And besides, what do you want to do anyway? Swing that axe, or stay there and wait for your opponents to come close? Voodood is supposed to be used effectively on his Mardular path anyways. And his damage for the axe is 45 damage. You'll be swinging that axe a lot, so count the numbers. 2 times equals a pretty good 90 damage. What does his combo do in return? 94 damage. Which means, adding up the totals, because I stink at math, I believe it is 181 damage. Which is very good for a Skylander, especially for an orc of all things. But sadly, while he has the damage to cover his weak spots, he has low armor, and I think I read somewhere he has bad HP. So, while he doesn't have enough to fit in with the rest of the top 10, he's a lot better than what people should treat Voodood of. And another thing, why couldn't he have gotten a Wow Pow? At least controlling the axe like how Dynering controls his boomerangs and that stuff would at least have been useful. And maybe would have bumped Voodood really high up on the list. Number 8, ironically, Dynering. For some reason, Dynering just gets too much hate, and I don't get why. I guess that's the whole thing. He doesn't fit in with the Earth types who are all high damaging, brute. They look all evil and that stuff. Well, Dynering, he just looks like friendly crocodile dinosaur or vector welding boomerangs. Dynering gets too much hate in my opinion. Yes, I see the thing. In story mode, he's definitely not going to be good. I mean, considering the point he has no Wow Pow like Voodood. Dynering didn't really need one. And besides, what the heck? If this is Dynering here, not Voodood. So, why did I put him over Bash? Simple that his boomerangs are the most effective weapon in the battle arena that is all Earth. While most of the Earth types are close range, Dynering brings it and follows a long-ranged attack. The boomerangs are not as intense to master like Voodood's axe or you know what I'm saying, but Dynering is really good. He's really, 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 really good. Because, are you even going to care about if you're just stranded there? Dynering has good armor, especially on Earther Avenger, where he gets the coolest looking armor in the game, which is why he should have came back in Swap Force instead of that Flashwing thing. Because I honestly want a toy of him in his armor. I don't even care if I have to make it. I will do it. Dynering is my favorite Earth type by far. And in the battle arena, he has the power to hit people with his boomerang as the longest ranged attack ever. He has a boomerang shield for up close, which does 40 damage on Grand Boomerang Master as well. Which means, also on that path, you get to bounce off walls. Which means 80 damage. And you're saying Dynering's weak, and then his Z attack helps cover his sadly low speed. Like I keep saying, with speed you need to have an attack that you could still get away but hurt your enemies, or else they'll just tackle you. I'm looking at you, Whamshell. And it doesn't take a long time to summon fist traps. In fact, they're super good. In fact, it's like using Snake's mines in Brawl. Your opponents aren't going to see them, even though they're pretty obvious, or they're just going to be too busy trying to fight off Dynarang anyway, and they're going to step up on them. Not to mention, you could always summon them, so Dynarang's pretty good fitted for the battle arena. However, I admit, he is slow, and if someone can get high up to him, if you don't know how to use the stone fist traps, you're probably going to be finished. Dynarang gets too much hate, in my opinion. Sadly, next to Spyro, the most underrated Skylander, and also the single most underestimated character, well, besides Zap and one coming up on the list. So, I don't get why Dynarang has so much hate, but I do see when combining both the battle arena and story mode, or just story mode, Dynarang shouldn't be your first one to pick. Number 7. Flame Shield. Activate. Drobot. Why is Drobot this low? Yes, I admit, Drobot is good, spamming, blah blah blah. Heck, he's so predictable, you're going to be spamming anyways. His laser attack is one of the best attacks in the game. It's long-ranged, and it will go on forever. Or as long as you would like to hold the A button. He could take care of larger opponents very quick, and the smaller HP Skylanders like Trigger Happy will have no chance against him. Drobot is also fitted in both modes, being very fast while holding a 40 damage, and he can use the blade gears. The problem is, yet again, I just feel bad when using him. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Drobot, much like Stealth Elf. There's nothing wrong, and I like all 3 of them. In fact, I wanted to put Drobot in the next part, because Drobot was at one point my favorite battler, but sadly, your Z attack can easily be interrupted, especially if you don't know how to use hover mode correctly. And you are going to be stranded most of the time when using Drobot's new Wow Pow. Using his new Wow Pow and the blade gears, you practically have no point for the lasers, since you can hold in the B attack and combine to make a giant blade gear, and you can actually control it. Whoopee! You can even put it on Drobot and it makes him look like he's wearing a blade gear. Heh. Skylander physics. And you can even attack behind Drobot. The problem is the range for this weapon isn't good. You're basically relying on the blade gears to hit walls. I admit, probably at the point of choosing a path, many people are choosing Master Blaster. For me, the blade gears, I think they could use some fixing up, and the lasers are already good. And by that point, you won't even have to use the lasers. You just have to rely on them. And not to mention, Drobot has speed, so you aren't going to be stranded. So, Drobot is this low because I found one more like him a lot more useful. And I don't know. And because I kind of find him boring to use and unpredictable, but not to say that Drobot is bad. He's awesome, and he always will be. This next one made it into the top 5, but I recently knocked him down in favor of something. Number 6. What could rival Drobot for power? Easy. Drill Sergeant. Why you put Drill Sergeant here? He's nerfed for the Wii. Sure, for some reason, Drill Sergeant is also very underrated, and he is surprisingly underestimated. Many people think he's working slow, and you might think, why did I put him over Drobot? Simple. Remember, I don't know, Drobot's A attack where you spam? Well, Drill Sergeant has that too. And adding his Wow Pow, which helps him fix the 2 damage and makes it a lot more fierce. I think it's a rapid 20 damage thanks to his Wow Pow. You're not going to get an easy time with Drill Sergeant. Not to mention his drills are really long range when shot, and they do good amount of damage. And much like Drobot, he can speed away. And why is he higher? 2 of his attacks are lock-on attacks. The drills will always hit you, and the autocannon, while it takes a while to turn slowly, especially against Bash and Cinder, it's not going to have an easy time registering to hit them. It is very long ranged, and it can fire fast. And I admit, you'd better watch out if I put Drill Sergeant on the field. There's no doubt that he's very versatile. And because the drills will lock on, it's hard to escape them, and the cannon will lock on. Meanwhile, you can dash around the field. For one matchup against my friend, I used Eruptor and he used Drill Sergeant. Basically, it was the most annoying thing in the world. I couldn't hit him. Maybe, I don't know why Drill Sergeant's so weak. I guess because he's often overshadowed by Drobot, and he is somewhat lacking on power, but hey, Drobot did the same things, and yet Drill Sergeant comes out the other end criticized. And I guess it would be because a robotic dragon, a dragon wearing robotic gear is a lot cooler than just a tank. But in my opinion, Drill Sergeant needs a lot more attention. And sadly, it doesn't look like he's coming back in Swap Force. And the only reason why he's in Giants is because Boomer got a lot of hate. If it weren't for Boomer, Drill Sergeant would have not been in Giants. He probably never got the wow pow he needed. And the only reason why he's this low is, without his wow pow, he is good, but sadly on the way he is nerfed. And because of his distance charging, but really, it doesn't even matter. I tried the Xbox and the 360 version of Drill Sergeant, and their dash is very similar, so that doesn't let me off from a useful Skylander. I swear, if you use Drill Sergeant on a Mega Dozer, your opponents will scream in rage. Drill Sergeant is sadly a very underestimated Skylander, but it's my favorite tech type in the battle arena. He has never let me down once, and I'll never let any Drobot fans let me change my mind, even though I do like Drobot more as a Skylander. Well, I guess we're going to be moving into the top 5 in the next part. This is me, Giga Camo, and I am going to go into the top 5, I guess. Yeah.